Sacre bleu. Wiggle your toes. Sacre bleu. Incroyable. Alors, move your finger around your tummy. Ton main. Cercle. Je ne sais pas. Hello. Hello everybody. I'm in a different room. Exciting. I've got something on the wall. It makes light, but I don't need it because I just exude it. And I've got a really bad case of hay fever today. I've taken a tablet, which is very unlike me. But let's hope it pays off anyway. I don't know what we're going to do today. I'm going to have a look. Are you going to have a look with me? Lovely. Let's do it. So something on this what I'm listening to playlist here. Now, Index for Working Music would be an interesting choice, because I think that's an interesting set of music that is going to be on there. I liked their previous album. Eve Blanche is someone I don't know much about, but I really liked one particular song a whole lot, which I think was probably Bones Don't Lie, but actually I'm not sure it was now. I think it was, I think it was Bones Don't Lie, and I think it's very funny how the cover there looks so impressively like a Netflix kind of thing. Anyway, I think that's very good. But I'm yet to find anything else she's done that is as good. I'm not convinced that going into that today will be as exciting as I hope it will be. I'm not. Oh no. There might be a few big old sneezes today. Corridors Quartet would be fun. Mars Volta, I mean, I just haven't heard anything about this album. It's kind of strange. Genevieve Artadi is fantastic, but whether or not, I don't know, that's definitely a contender. It'll be quite complicated music, I imagine, with Norrbotten Big Band as well, so I'm sure that's going to be fun. I think actually these are tracks that have already been recorded by Genevieve, I think. Let's just have a look if there's a Forever on there. Yeah, there is. So they're probably just songs with orchestra, I imagine, or some kind of orchestra. Macy Stewart may well be good. I just need to catch up with half these albums, to be honest. I've been trying, but I have been putting too many albums on here, and not getting through enough. What's right at the bottom? What's recently come out? Well, I know that Viagra Boys, that one hasn't recently come out. Ghost is, I mean, I've put both Ghost and Bleeding, what are they called? I can't even remember, but I'm sure they'll be somewhere up here. Oh, maybe I didn't put them on in the end. Well, there's these new Puritans, that's a big likelihood. Yeah, I haven't put them on. Sleeping Tablet, what are they? Sleep Token, which is such a weird name. Sorry. Oh, and I've listened to that Ben Frost album, and I think it's really nice. I've obviously listened to that Psychedelic Porn Crumpets album. Look, obviously these new Puritans is the most exciting one of the bunch. What an interesting bond. started off with, you know, this particular school of slightly complicated indie rock people with this one. I'm not so familiar with that one, Beat Pyramid. Hidden then, absolutely crazy. It's amazing music on Hidden. And that's probably true of Field of Reeds as well. But I've never, I've only given Field of Reeds one listen, but I know people who absolutely swear by it. And then quite a big gap between that and Inside the Rose, and I wasn't massively fond of Inside the Rose, annoyingly. I was excited for it to be my big in with them, but it wasn't. And Hidden has hit me much better. But yeah, this next one, Crooked Wing. Well, I've not listened to anything going in. I wonder if this is going to be the same kind of stuff as the previous album, or if it's going to be something more complicated, or who knows. Inside the Rose, I thought, had a lot to do with the Blue Nile. It felt very like this 80s sort of new romantic adjacent, slightly ambient stuff, and I just didn't quite connect with it. Well, we'll see what this is like. Waiting. Okay, thank you for the D there. I thought I Am Barry is not how we want to start an album, but I Am Buried, that makes more sense. F minor. Very clearly F minor, because we spell out all the notes of the scale straight there. Oh, my breathing is not fun. Let's get a bit more clarity. Okay. Oh dear. This is gross, isn't it? This is not the content that I had intended to make. Okay. Anyway. And then the organ chord comes in. This sounds like, I mean, it sounds like some kind of very young singer, maybe a treble from a choir. And then there's an organ, so we're really rooting ourselves in the old Catholic or Christian broader tradition here. Interesting. So that chord there, after we got that, we then got one of those. So F minor to C minor basically, but with an E flat at the bottom, so a little bit. I don't know, it feels slightly more comfortable, the minor chord with the third at the bottom. It's not like a major chord with a third at the bottom, where you sort of feel like this must go somewhere. It's a minor chord with a third at the bottom. It's almost like a sixth chord, but it's just hanging out, just quite comfortable. Yeah. Anyway, quite emotive and quite straightforward. And then we got this interesting noise shortly after that chord, which was just someone going, ah. Oh, was that just me, or was that in my general vicinity? Yeah, totally not there. I don't know what I heard the first time. Unless that's the second one. Let me just check. thought I heard it that time as well.
I am deep underground.
No, I didn't, but that's beautiful, isn't it? Let's hear it one more time.
I am deep underground.
Yeah. So, from a really simple statement of the triad to a statement of pretty much the whole mode. So we've got 1, flat 3, we don't have 2. Flat 7, normal 6, 5 and 4. So we're just missing that 2, but the 2 is implied by the presence of the major 6. Major 6 says this should probably be Dorian, and in fact we have had that 2 there in the C minor chord, so yeah, we're looking at F Dorian. Very beautiful, sort of reminds me of Kate Bush's 50 Words for Snow album, which had a lot of let's say classical adjacent singers, not necessarily classical singers, but lots of people from the choral world. Same chord change.
I am listening.
Okay, so this time for the third phrase we do again the statement of the triad, but then we come in just straight away with that C minor. And this time it has a C in the bass and feels quite nasty, quite urgent, and yeah, much more, much less sort of fey and more just sad, I guess, something like that. I'm looking for the words, I can't quite find them. Simple thing, and you could have always had and gone back to the F minor there, but instead to a D minor 7, which still works with the mode, but definitely not what's expected there. Feels a little unusual because it's the most complicated chord we've had so far. A little bit of a dissonance between that D and the C. And that's actually where resolves. So we end up with a first inversion B flat major chord. And interestingly, with that resolution, it actually takes a little bit of the power out of the bass, because the bass happened so long ago that the moving part sort of takes dominance. It doesn't really feel like a first inversion chord there. That's really interesting. I've never noticed that before. Yeah, so far we're really going for things that are connected to choral, classical and sacred works of art here.
I am far away.
So we're getting a statement of our initial thing again. 4 phrases. So they were quite square. We got again the first chords, but we also got some crazy pentatonic voice going over the top, in sort of in the background, bit ghostly. Something like that.
I am toiling in subterranean field.
Yeah, it's really nice. So it's really nice, that jump up, because we're expecting that and we jump straight over that note, and then we keep going, then we come back down, and then we jump just a little bit further up, and we've come to rest on the same fifth that we were on for the first phrase. Gorgeous, really. Really gorgeous. Okay, so that second voice that's come in there, it was just doing something between the C and the D, so the 5 and the major 6 here.
I am waiting.
Big old cluster chord there, slowly building up. Stop kicking that. Yeah, so I think that basically in that cluster chord is just every note of the mode in a complicated set of things, and they also bring in some real high stuff, don't they? So there's a crossfade, really. You can't do that on the organ. You can't suddenly fade in things on an organ, except if they're on the swell box, but realistically that noise is not on the swell box, that bright, beautiful noise, while the manuals are doing the same thing. So what I imagine has happened there is that they've built up this chord for a long time, pulling out lots of stops until it gets that bright, powerful noise, and then they've shrunk those takes together so that they make a shorter situation. Interesting to hear the chord being built over the voice, though. You have both of them doing movement in the same place, but the voice is much simpler, and so the ear is much more drawn to what's going on with the organ, I think. And it's also moving faster. Yeah, and then we get our favourite change. This is lovely. I'm really enjoying this. There's a something that came off at the end there. Yeah, just like just those two notes holding in the ether. Don't know where they came from, but there they are.
I am waiting.
There we go again, back to the C minor, but this time we joined it to the C minor with the E flat in the bass. So you can really feel that change in feeling of the chord to the more grounded, but also more emotionally devastating chord. That's the C minor with the C in the bass. Are we going to get our are we going to get that? Pretty much, and with a nice la. Just what do you call that? Acciaccatura, or ghost note. Okay, so a much brighter registration on the organ now. It was very soft for most of the previous part, and now it's brighter. We've got a lot more high frequency noise coming through. Okay, Yeah, so that's what that sounds like. What's that from? Ah, it's on the tip of my tongue. No, not sure. Oh, also we didn't resolve that to the B flat chord there, just kept on going with that. And then we went to the, yes, not to that, the F minor. Yes. Not all of those are actual full chord changes. Yeah, there's some things that are staying on between those first chords. So it might be those, whereas then we get that. So we kind of get that. So there's this fight between the previous chord and the chord that carries on. And then a very strong is it an open fifth? No. It's there, but it's a very strong D flat chord. So that chord sequence, just so you know. F minor, B flat major, C minor, D flat major. So we've added two new chords, both major chords, in this new moment. And it gives a very different feeling. And it's giving much more sort of power stance, isn't it? Yeah, there is a woo going on in that chord too, which makes it a major seventh, D flat major seventh, and is what the voice is doing now. We've taken out the third in the middle, and we're just doing the open fifth now. Really nice. Yeah. And then we just move those two notes up. So add the F, and then a C, and then we do C and F. Beautiful, clear singing. And then it's enveloped by the reverb. Okay, so we've moved a little bit to a different place, B flat minor, and then A flat major. So the B flat minor is denying our Dorian that we've been having so far. It gives us the flat six, that D flat. Oh, I guess the D flat was doing that before. Okay, so we get those just for a moment. The F comes back in, and then we're back to F. God, that's going to drive me up the wall. Oh yes. It's not quite the same, but... A little bit. There's something... Oh yeah, it reverses it at some point. And I don't think we ever get that movement, but we do get that movement. So it's really similar to Electric Feel. That's lovely. Gosh, I'm so sorry, I'm so snotty. Deary me. Deary me. Okay. So we again got the same kind of thing, but on this chord we've gone, so we add that 6. Yeah, and it comes there while they're on the C minor, so we get, so it doesn't really fit with either of those chords perfectly. It's the minor 7th there, it's the major 6th there. Beautiful choice though, making things more complicated in a very comfortable way. Going up to stratospheric heights, those A flats. Just a nice thing. It doesn't have much bearing on the melodies we've been having previous to this, so there's no motivic connection as far as I can tell. There was a little bit there. Yeah. Yeah, so again to that B flat chord. And then I guess holding that F on makes it not to that A flat chord, which is nice and comfortable, but instead we're aping the change between the F and the C minor there, the F minor and the C minor. We're doing the same thing up here with B flat minor to F minor, but we've got the A flat in the bass. The first inversion again. Nice change. So from that A flat we actually go down to G flat. Still keeping that F on there. I don't think it's a full G flat major 7 chord, but that's basically what's there. That's beautiful. And that changes our mode again one further. We went from Dorian at the beginning to classic minor Aeolian for this second section, and we've just pushed that flat 2, that G flat, back, so now into Phrygian mode, darker and darker. Do we go darker than that? Well, it's interesting with that restatement, that lower, less bright statement, less bright register on the organ. It almost feels like a new home, it feels like a new tonic. But it isn't. So again there, sudden building of that chord. If this is done with a real organ, I suppose the only way you could do it is with putting that chord almost empty on the swell box to begin with, like not making any noise and then swelling in. That's hard, complicated writing, but I suppose it is broadly doable. Yeah, so we get this G flat chord, and then we get the statement of that tonic triad again, which goes very against this chord. We get the major 7th, the 9th, and the sharp 11th there. And that's beautiful, 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 beautiful. And then that swells, doesn't it, and becomes very complicated chord. That's my favourite note in there. Yeah, the 9th, beautiful. And there we go, we're back to our initial chord sequence. Interesting change. Very small difference, but instead of the triad this time, we go F, G. So we go up to the second. So negating whatever worries we might have had that we were continuing in Phrygian, we're back to something slightly brighter. It carries with it quite a lot of intention, that change. Now, that note, that G, is in the C minor chord that comes around it. So it's not exactly out of the box. It's just unexpected. Because previously, even though we've been doing that C minor chord, even though we've been doing that G minor chord, there has been a whole lot of, sorry, G minor, I meant C minor. Even though we've been on that C minor, it's gone doo doo, regardless of that. So the voice has never changed to suit the chord except for this moment, which is interesting. It brings with it, yeah, as I say, a lot of intentionality. Then we get the C minor. Now that's a new texture, isn't it? A new textural item, new instrument. What is it? Some kind of bell. Bright percussive sound. Could have been produced on the organ, I suppose. And there we go. So same thing we got. Far below. So we've had that 3 times now. So this is almost turning out to be a normal song shape. It's kind of gone AABA, the whole thing. Okay, really crazy stuff going on in the right ear there. What is that? Is that a voice that's been manipulated with a strong vibrato effect? The strong tremolo effect. Okay, so we did our standard movement. C going down to B flat. Oh, we kept on going. Yeah, so we're going into new territory now, I think. Feels like that kind of chord going on now, quartal kind of thing. Final thing is a bit of an ambiguous D minor and 11. With those bells being a little discordant up at the top. It might be a singing bowl. Oh, yeah. No, did it do that note which is ringing on in the atmosphere there? So we get this. And then, yeah, in between these 2 notes, and that rings on into the atmosphere as it finishes. An interesting choice, unusual ending. Yeah, it's pushing us. So some of these things are really comfortable. I mean, maybe not where the general viewer would likely to be from in terms of musical idioms, but they're comfortable and straightforward broadly. But then that ending has really made things a little more questionable. Well, now we've got 7 minutes of bells. Let's see if that's what it is. No, it's piano. Okay. Up high. Fine. Okay, let's hear it again. Basically 3 different sets of 2 notes. great. I really like that, so I might use that if it's not that. What's that third set? Okay. Is it really the same as the first one? Yeah, it is, okay. Well, that's fine. Jeez. The perils of having schedules, having to show off at a specific time. Okay. So yeah, so it's going in threes. What does that spell out? Nothing! So we've got basically two pairs of, got a fifth there and a fourth there. The first two are a quite nice dyad of B and D. Maybe suggesting G major, maybe suggesting B minor. And then with those, well, is that suggesting sort of, yeah, some kind of A minor? So, well, the point is, it's not really suggesting anything. The connection between them is all that there is. It's not a thing we can easily build an expectation of harmony on, but we've got those notes anyway. So we've got D, B, A, and E. Okay. So it's not even pentatonic yet. We need an extra note before we can even tell where our sort of one is. Okay. So those bells, really church bell sounding bells, but they sound a little smaller for some reason. I did want to say on the previous track, I thought the organ was recorded immaculately. It was one of the best organ recordings I've ever heard, I think. This is what those bells are doing, I think. So they have given us one more note, and it is actually what would be our R1, because it's going 3, 2, 1, adding in that G. So we're in G major pentatonic, as far as I can tell. Lovely. The bells have come in at least, haven't they? Yeah. Is that 3s and 4s? I think it is, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. 3s and 4s. A polyrhythm, but also arguably a polymeter. I was watching a video recently by Andrew Huang, and Andrew very explicitly states that a polyrhythm is something going on within a bar where the two rhythms indicated have different subdivisions of the bar. So 3s and 4s is a fine example of that, whereas a polymeter is just where you have two different time signatures. Now, I have a problem with this, and I think a lot of people should, although I didn't find any dissent in the comments. That's not to be unexpected though. The problem is that meter is not just time signature. Meter is the divisions. So if you have 4/4 and 5/4 at the same time, that isn't polymeter because the divisions are the same. So there's no alternative meter. What there is two alternative time signatures, which in the grand scheme of things don't do anything to the music anyway, because they're just ways of schematicizing the notes that are in the piece of music. If you have a recurring thing that goes in 5 beat cycles, whereas something else goes in 4 beat cycles, what you've got there is a very slow polyrhythm by the definition of Andrew Huang. It's just occurring over a larger time period than just one bar, and why shouldn't it? It doesn't make sense to say that polyrhythms only should occur within one bar. That seems very silly to me. And then the thing about 3s and 4s being in the same bar is actually that they do have a different meter. They have different subdivisions. So if you were writing a bar of 3 beats, it would normally be a 3/4 bar. And then you might run into trouble if you were going to try and write a meter change that required 4 beats in that bar. So using today's understanding of time signatures, you would probably write a bar of 3/3 and a bar of 4/4 underneath it, both of which are the same length, one of which uses crotchets to mean what, the length of a third of a semibreve, which would be, I guess, a triplet minim, and then one of them uses crotchets for their standard time value. Okay, it's a confusing way to do things, and it's quite new overall, using that kind of time signature destruction with things on the bottom that don't divide by 2. But nonetheless, I think that's what you need to do there. You could also potentially do like a 3/6, but you need a way of getting both of those in as 2 different meters, which is what they are. They are 2 different meters. They're going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 at the same time as doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. They're 2 different meters, fundamentally. Anyway, rant over. That's what we've got here. We've got 2 different meters. We've got our slow 3s and our slightly faster 4s. This nice line. This is all very polite music, isn't it? God, why do I keep hitting that? Another thing that is ambiguous by itself, like that's spelling out a C sus2 chord, but with these things up here, actually they're still pretty much, we don't have that, do we? No, we do, okay. Yeah, so that has sort of recentered us. We were sort of around the G to some degree. That C feels like it's giving us a new root. I'm making everything sound a little more Lydian. We haven't got the Lydian note, which would be an F sharp, but we also haven't got the Ionian note. So anyway, it feels quite nice and open, maybe like it's going to crash down to G at some point, maybe. A very low piano note there and giving us the C again. And we've lost the 4s now, we've just got the 3s. And interestingly, the bells are actually slightly out of time with the piano. I don't know why, but I think it's quite a nice effect. And we've just gone to E minor. And there's our F sharp. Something like that. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. It's fun, these selections of two notes, and they're always changing. So you never have this complete comfortable texture. It's always slightly moving every single time. The thing that stays put is those bass notes. They are nice and long, but the texture above it is full of clangy, percussive hits of varying descriptions, never letting us rest with a, comfortable sonorance. Sonorance? I think that's probably a word. Because we've got these extra notes over the top, it's never just fully an A minor. We've got this moving harmony as well as texture over the top. And now the bells seem to have gone. Yeah, nice. So then to a G. So we started at C, then we went to E minor, then A minor, and then G, and we've got doo-doo. So there's a moment where both of those notes are semitone apart, hit at the same time. That's quite uncomfortable in comparison to most of these choices of two notes. Actually, it's not those, is it? It's those. So we get that there, and we get those there. So it's still a bit uncomfortable, not quite as uncomfortable as I thought. Okay, now we're just into nice sixes, or subdivisions of the three. Da 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 da. Yeah, nice. And our voice has come in. This is the guy from the band, and this is the main connection, I would say, to the Blue Nile. This guy's soft, wordless croon is maybe a little closer to Mark Hollis from Talk Talk overall, but same kind of world. And our bass note is, I think, C again. And vibes is really what we've got here, isn't it? Rather than bells now. That's on the vibes, and it's nice and high. Vibraphone is what vibes is. Yeah. Nice lines. Okay, so we are following the pattern of bass notes that we had just before. And the piano is still doing the same thing as well. So we're going from this complicated C chord to this complicated E chord to this complicated A chord to this complicated G chord. All of which basically have all the notes in, so the change is not subtle because the bass note really packs a punch, but the overall space seems to be more or less the same with each one. Let's just have a look again at this melody then. Pretty much the same twice. 3 times. Okay, and then the 4th time, almost the same. What extra note? sort of an inversion of that one we caught the vibes doing. Sorry. When it takes you, you've just got to follow it. Summer has gone and passed. The innocent can never last. Wake me up when bells. Yeah, and that lasts a whole long time, that. So we're on the G chord. Nice 6, and then becomes comfortable, a third in the C chord. This feels very much like the same thing. Oh, but the piano's not there anymore. We've just got a sort of synthy layer giving us the bass there. Maybe it's just a bass actually, but it's much less defined than the plonky piano. Okay, suddenly another yeah, slightly sharper than that, isn't it? Am I just low? Ooh, not really. That's just very bright. For some reason that D seems higher than it would normally. It sounds quite nice though. Maybe that is just me. Yeah, no, it sounds a little bit higher. But it's not sticking out, like there's nothing that's explicitly clashing with it, which is interesting, because you would expect that to be. Yeah. Now that's flat. Okay, well, yeah, I guess it could just have been me. It was interesting that it was only that particularly told me. And it does feel like an oddly bright tuning now. I'm sure there are things going on in the microtonal layer that I am completely oblivious to. But it's interesting having your attention brought to them sometimes. Da, da, dee. He just jumps to it there, and then da 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 comes down the scale, reaching us at that C when we are due to repeat. This whole thing really has been, other than the build up at the beginning, it's been a repetition of chords around a particular 4-chord sequence. Not a usual 4-chord sequence, but not a particularly unusual one. Especially the C to E minor. Very, very common. The A to G, A minor to G is less common in that kind of context. Nonetheless, that's what we've got. So far that has been basically all it has, just repeating this chord sequence the whole time. And yes, adding textural elements on top of it. Different instruments, different voices. And that's what we've got here. Two things in phase, I think, doing the same thing, which is that. And one is starting down here while the other's starting here, I think. So they're going. So they cross over, if that makes sense. Shall I try? No, I'm not going to do it. I feel very bad. There's also, I think, another voice going doop doop doop, but that might just be the lower part of these higher voices. No, yeah, there's definitely some extra doops put in there. It feels quite thick as a texture. There's a lot going on, just rhythmically, and yeah, it's always flowing. There's no division that is missing at the layer that they're operating. Da 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 da. Everything is accounted for. Okay, adding in an extra high note there, that A, because we've gone to the A chord. Do we go to B on the... No, we go back down to G for the G chord. It has a ring of arvo part about it. It's not quite the same kind of thing, but he's a composer who does a lot of things where voices switch parts. So one will be doo, and the other be doo, and then they'll switch over for the next word. So did I? Okay. So it'll be like doo doo doo. So hang on, what's that? Doo doo. Okay. That kind of thing. So one goes high while the other goes low, and you still get the same chord overall, but they keep switching, and therefore the timbres are always in a new configuration, each new setup. It's a really fun compositional tool. Tintinnabuli, I think, is what he calls it. That ain't no tintinnabuli. No, sir. Oh dear. Alright. Anyway, minimalism is definitely the place this is operating in. Okay, fading out. Bringing back the organ. Can't tell if it's the organ right now, but very breathy, windy kind of sound. Just holding down a chord broadly of G major, but obviously with lots more notes in. Da, 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 dee. So that's our end melody, isn't it? Okay, well this feels more like some trumpets or some brass here, with those church bells come back in. Da, 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 da. Ah, are we in a different pitch now? No, it is still there. Sounds down there for some reason now, but bells are complicated things. And we've got some interesting rhythms from these trumpets. And they were there for just such a brief moment, and now they're gone. Interesting. Yeah, real sort of like foggy texture, things coming into focus and then disappearing again. Feels like all of these things could exist at the same time. They're all sort of in tune with each other, but yeah, we're choosing to get snapshots of different ensembles, I suppose. There's a percussion instrument here that is so high that I can't really hear it. I'm going to turn up the headphones. Yeah, I don't know if it is actually bells, but I'm just hearing pretty much keeping the beat. And we've got the kind of thing. I'm not sure if it's on the vibes right now. Yeah, I think it is. And there's a low C from the piano. Oh, it actually sounds like it's going. Ba-dun, dun. Yeah, ba-da-da-da-da. That's what the bells sound like they're doing now. Oh yeah, there is that in there. It's interesting. Each bell has lots of overtones and also some undertones. And so in different contexts you might hear a different note from the bell. It has its strong notes, but it also, if in the wrong context, the strong note might become subservient to the slightly weaker notes. Bells are very complex sounds, which we can't really perceive, I would say. Maybe there are some people who can, but yeah, in a different context, a bell will sound higher or lower, basically. Okay, but the piano was helping there. Bum, bum, bum. Doing exactly that. Interesting. And more C. We've landed on C for quite a while now, haven't we? Ah, some voices. Slowing down a little. Is that just me? Da, ba, da, 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 da. No, it's not. It's definitely slowing down. Just spelling out the chord. Just spelling out that C. And we're in 3, by the way.
Cross the field,
different melody now.
cross the snow, let the horses.
Change of chord there. We went up from the C to the D, but the melody stayed the same. Da-na-na. There. Da-na. So it's on the B, A. So that's not giving us a C chord, like these lovely higher voices are. Da, da. And that D change, not everything changes chord, it's really just that bass that's changing. Everything else is going as it would, on its way by itself, with no interaction except in the space. So they're not working together. They are just collaborating with almost no cohesion. That's not true, but the point is that they're independent different things in the musical landscape. If one changes, it doesn't force the others to change at all.
All in a row.
Ba-da-da-da. Yeah, so simpler melody here. It's giving us, I don't know, B section vibes.
Them into house of God, out of the forest, all in a row.
Interesting. So E in the bass. We've got D and E being pumped out by those brassy instruments. Could be saxes. Ah, geez, I can never tell. Yeah. We're getting something like that. It's still all in 3, but it's an interesting rhythm. It's interesting also that those guys... Oh, gosh. I took a tablet. This shouldn't be so bad. I've been let down. Not for the first time. By medicine. Trying to stop believing. Music will never let me down. Music is my medicine. Although it's not making me feel better, I suppose, is it?
all in a row.
Yeah, it's interesting that those trumpets are really the only thing giving us a non-standard rhythm. They're giving us something that doesn't just fall on beats or on beat subdivisions. But I guess they're working in a similar way to the voices we're doing earlier, where they had those doops just occurring extra to the main thing. The only difference is that one that time had constant quavers as well, whereas this doesn't have constant quavers here. Gosh. Actually, it does. It does have constant quavers from these guys, from the vibes. Well, that's a nice bit of melody there, that last bit. Da 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 da. So a little bit of a extension. Beautiful. Same kind of thing, but this time instead of da da da, it goes da da. Ah, boy. I wonder what I'd have got through if I wasn't constantly sneezing. The bass notes are interesting here as well, aren't they? Well, everything's clearing a little bit. The atmosphere is not quite as tight. Especially those bell instruments and the more percussive elements are getting clearer, slightly drier, so you can hear the crispness of the hit on those much clearer, which is lovely. A really subtle but sweet, beautiful change here. Yeah, and da 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 da, jumping down the fifth. It's nice. Let's hear that just again. So there's a B there, and then there's an A, which is nice, with a C in the melody, and then it goes to F with a D in the melody. So these are some new spaces. The A is not so new, but the F really is. We've had F sharps before this, and we've been really constant with keeping that mode the same. And here we've got an F with a D. Nice, beautiful, difficult to describe. And there's a B. And then we go back down to the A and we go up to the F sharp with the melody. Okay, so we're playing around with that. Playing around with that modal interchange. And then this feels like our recapitulation, does it not? It feels like we're back to where we were before in our A section. With such a strong Lydian feeling though. I'm so sorry. There is a difference of feeling though. I'm going to have to trade this one in soon, I think. See if I can get to the end of the stream. Should have shaved. There is a difference of feeling though. It's slower, and we don't have so much two notes happening at the same time. That is kind of still the same, but it's between two different vibes players, I think, or at least how they come out on the vibes does not feel like how they come out on a piano, so they feel a little more separate. We've got those dyads back in the piano, but they're going slower and they're lower. Fours is actually what the subdivision feels like now, which is interesting. We've been in threes this whole time. Okay, and there's the fours actually. so it does feel like fours here. But then there's da 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 da. Let's just count that. Okay, that's not actually fours against threes anymore. That's just da 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 da, but not quite that. That's interesting. Da 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 da. Ah, no, it is. Yeah, that's actually great. So that slowdown we felt earlier was probably a transition to the tempo that you would need for those fours to feel like the fours against the threes of the initial section, even though we really just felt like we were slowing down with threes. That is the kind of stuff that I have tried to do, and it hasn't really, well, it's paid off in that I've made what I think is nice, frankly really good music because of it. But yeah, the song Woodwork that I have, worth a listen. It's got mostly 7/8, but it does have a few more time signatures, but the 7/8 between different sections goes faster and goes slower, and those speed changes were based on simple maths changes. So like trying to go from 3 to 4, for instance. So instead of it being it sort of brings it faster by a by a subdivision type, by a meter, if you like. Anyway, that was a complicated way to say that this is doing something really quite unusual, quite unheard of until until I came across this track or thought about it myself. But yes, slowing down, I mean, to be honest, it must have come up before in music, but I haven't come across it. Slowing down those threes so that they become akin to the fours that go in the were there in the threes to begin with. Those were fast fours though, so were they? Yeah, they were. So if we had that's what we had, isn't it? So what do we have here? Okay, so yeah, that's interesting, because I was feeling fours in this section beforehand, and there's just going back to it there, I was only feeling threes. Yeah, no, I can't feel it anymore. I've got so excited about something that doesn't even exist. I'm so embarrassed. Yeah, and then this is just a different tempo threes. Never mind. Oh no. This is fours.
The sea is wide.
Yeah, so they have got those. Yeah. No. Down, 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 down. Ah. Yeah, so we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4s at the same time. Oh, it's pretty clever. Yeah, so this is actually more like our B section, isn't it? We've stuck on the C. Is that what it did? It does feel like fours at the moment, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, sort of like our B section in that melody is there, but really only in that way.
If you know it, even if you don't, stay out from
There's the threes back. Okay, this is definitely our previous section. Da, da, da. Yep. Okay. But we keep that new change of chords. So now we do have the C for ages. The E, but then we just go straight to the G, rather than having the A and the G in a much more drawn out sequence. We still get that A in the vocals there though. So that's twos. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. We haven't got the fours at the moment. We've got twos and we've got threes. And that's it good enough for most people. Oh, there's the fours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. There was a low D there before we came to that C as well. And then we've got the threes to end us out on. A lot of space on that piano. Lovely. Well, quite an interesting piece of work there. I wouldn't say it touched me on the emotional level like the previous one, and it did sound quite like the Inside the Rose stuff that I wasn't such a fan of. But really interesting musical things going on there. The atmospheric fog is a very fun thing. It makes it feel akin to ambient music, how things just come in for a bit and then fade away, and they're all sort of contributing the same stuff. There's one moment in that which had that F, never to be heard again, just right in the centre of the song, but everything else was in the same mode and could have been layered all on top of each other. Yeah, but and interesting things that I didn't quite get to the bottom of regarding tempo, which is a shame. Tempo and meter, which is a shame. But explore them yourselves. Try and come to grips with what's going on there. It's lovely. It's a really unique kind of feeling. Lovely. Okay, all right. A Season in Hell. Let's try and get through this one nice and quick. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. It's a fun pattern. It's very aggressive drum sounds. That sounds like it's a snare, or like maybe a side stick, but it's turned up to 11 and made really metallic sounding. Bow. We've got that too. Are we in D? Yeah, nice extra kick drum there. Yeah, just filling in the empty space. And there's something to fill in all the empty space. I guess filling the space of a hi-hat, but it's lower, more crazy, metallic, noisy, spitty kind of sound. Fun. Totally different to the previous two tracks as well, isn't it? Okay, we've got an extra one. It's sounding like a sort of 90s computer game soundtrack. I could imagine this being on Doom. So they left for a moment there, and then in comes another thing that's coming on every half beat. Or I guess, yeah, quarter beat. So beats are going 1, 2, 3. Which sounds like maybe an old phone, an old, chord phone. Or some scratch on a plate. It's an unpleasant sound anyway. Yeah, interesting percussive aggression here, isn't it? And also that one had a bit of a tone on it. The main tone we've been hearing so far is that D. But that sort of felt like it was a G maybe. Maybe like that. That's probably incidental, but it's fun and an unresolved, not dissonance, but an unresolved chord. Wow, not what I was expecting. A little bit of a rap. Da-ba-da-ba-ba. Quite soft spoken, but very close to the mic. Makes up for it. I'll say. And a bit of organ. We're sticking true to at least some of our instrumental palette here. Something like that. Let's hear it again. Yeah. Okay, okay. Something very like that. Yeah. That's at the end. That's what's going on. Now, the thing about that is it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which means that in our 1, 2, 3, it only takes up 2 beats. So we're going to get some phasing. It's like a polyrhythm. But not polymeter, right? Because the divisions are the same. Yeah, that's so fun. And the words are closer to the 3. Da da ba da ba da da ba da 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 da. Shake to the ground, shake to the ground. Shake to the ground, shake to the ground. Yeah, with some toms at the end there as well, and a textural switch up. It's fun. This is exciting me. So that is a simple trick, but they took that, and then the next one comes in. Yeah, so they phase anyway, and it makes it a more complicated texture. It's fun. Still got that D underpinning everything. What was that? Shake to the ground, shake to the ground. Ah! Something warped in the right earphone. Wow, ba, 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 ba.
Shake to the ground, shake to the ground.
This organ sounds so good. Wow. So we get a full D minor chord for basically 4 bars. And that's all we get. And then suddenly it changes to D major. Wow! With that extra added C sharp in there, giving us a major 7. We've had a lot of major 7 resonances on this, but that didn't make that one feel any more expected. Going up to the 9th of the chord. Okay, yeah. Bum, 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 bug it up. We like the rhythm, but we want to move it to some different instruments, or different drums anyway. And that's what they do, just for those transitions. This actually feels like one of mine too. Again, overlapping organ lines. Okay, this could be our chorus. Shall we call this our chorus? Okay.
As I sing, sing a song.
So this now feels like just an organ piece. We've got the organ holding some lower notes. Yeah, not D anymore. But we're still in. Oh no, we're not. Yeah, we're in quite a different mode.
As I sing,
Ooh. Yeah. It's sort of like in B minor. It feels like.
as I sing,
Okay, yeah. Going between A and B minor to some degree. And then boom. D major. Yeah, it's complicated. Complicated layered things, but it feels like they're keeping to 3s to some degree. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. There's those higher voices again. Yeah, the bass coming in there with the B, and then I think it is that. So it's like it's quite complicated B. Not so complicated A chord, not complicated B, D chord. But it's got thicker, hasn't it? Those organ lines have got louder in the mix. And also we weren't rapping there, we were singing, so that's the difference too. Very, very different, but with the uniting factor of the organ, which is interesting. Bow! That was powerful. It's like the hardest spittoon take you've ever done. Bang! It doesn't sound like a gun or anything. I don't know what it is, but it's a fun, powerful, percussive sound. Okay, weird singing here, but we're roughly in D still. Yeah, so the first time there, that's what it felt, and then this time, maybe that's deliberate. I'll listen to it again because I'm not convinced that it was. I guess he was singing in the previous section as well. Yeah, it's quite hard to tell if that's deliberate. Yeah, it's right in the cracks. Hard to tell, yeah, and especially with the echoed voice. Yeah, it feels really psychedelic and uncomfortable. Interesting, massive bout of silence there. Just echoes. Whoa. Very okay. Oh yeah, pushes it really hard, and then we get that, which does sound like a gunshot, but one from a really like a spaghetti western kind of thing. That's interesting. Okay, so we got these organum chords. Like that. So what's happening there is you've got some harmonizer on the vocals, so that when he goes it's also going sounds uncomfortable, sounds very weird, and he's not confident enough with his pitch to say that it's, you know, deliberately off. I would say it's hard to really put a finger on it, but I imagine he's been happy with the sound of it, and it seems like he knows quite a lot about music, so I imagine even if it was unintended to begin with, he's gone, yes, that is the unsettling, uncomfortable pitch that I wish to produce. Yeah, it's right in the gaps. Not so much there though. That was interesting. I don't think that was actually a harmonizer there. That might have just been two vocals. Something like that. Are we in E flat all of a sudden? Oh. Yes, we are. Hang on. That's definitely D. That might be what's confusing me. This is all D, but that does have that slightly higher feel to it. No, that's still focused on D. Yeah, wow. So it seems here that there's a relationship between D and less than a semitone higher than D. And sometimes the chords are conforming to that higher one, and sometimes they're conforming to the lower one. So this means that from note to note, chord to chord, there's either consonance or dissonance, and neither of those are actually satisfying, because it never feels like it's the end. It never feels like that's how it's meant to be, and it never feels like that's how it's meant to be. Oh, where I have. Yeah, weird. Still got a similar drum beat to before. So we're still in 3, but we haven't got that ba 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 at the end, and it's not nearly as in your face. It sounds more like real drums. Okay, that sounds like Michael Jackson drums there. I spoke too soon, really. Yeah, the large amount of vocal, not production, what do you call it, processing, is really weird, isn't it? It feels very uncomfortable, because you can hear the true voice coming through, but then it's so warped in time, and in pitch that, yeah, it does. It's not like talking to someone. It's not a comforting connection to another human. It's very uncomfortable. Yeah. Stay. Just on the beat there while the drums go crazy. There's our organ back, giving us very definitively D minor. Okay, and as we go into our, what's this? That's our chorus section? I don't know. As we go into this section, the drums are actually taking a back seat. We've still got that there. Shout to the ground. This should be our, maybe, I don't know. We're alternating between them. It's a fun feeling. Okay, and then this is our strange bridge section we had before, with the D and the B minor, the complementing B minor, the A and the D. It's building in a very similar way. Okay, more voices, more polyphonic, I think. Yeah. Let's just have a listen to that previous one again. It's actually very similar, much more than I thought. Oh wow. That's a very high note. Top D. Nope. Wrong production. There we go. Nice one. Oh, that was a bit sharp. Never mind. Yeah, so this is over the chords from that previous section. We don't have the flowing lines now. This kind of thing, we don't have that anymore. It's just the chords, or maybe even just the bass. No, there are the chords. Doing that. And that, yeah, that D just holds on. And then we get F sharp to A. And then D and E there for the D chord, which is a nice extra added note. And then there's our florid lines. Whoa! Heralding Caroline Polachek on the new thing. There's an E. Why must you challenge me so? Nice. Very happy with that. A little bit on the squeaky side, but that it's this pull from underneath that is glorious and so human. No, I can't do that. Yeah, just pulling it from underneath. Oh, wow. Powerful and really sort of, slight breathiness to it. So it feels like there's a lot of emotion behind it, and still the sweetness of the high note comes through. Yeah. So we get that E and that and that C sharp on the D chord, making that one of those beautiful major ninth chords that we've had quite often in this. I can do that. It's a bit like whale song, isn't it? We've got these two high vocalists just weaving. They're not doing anything particularly complicated, but they're just leaving space for each other and occasionally coming together. Yeah, nice. And now we've got a build of those organ sounds again. There's There's that D. Yeah, so those notes were in that final chord. We've got all of it, really thick organ strength chord though. When the organ's full registration, not that that was full registration, but you can't necessarily hear every note that's being played because the fundamentals are so powerful that everything else just becomes colouring in the same way as it would do of a note that you sang. Ah, you can't hear the ooh from that very clearly. Ah, but it's there. It's there, and if I go ooh, you can hear it a bit clearer. Same thing with an organ, but they were nonetheless there. So we got that beautiful big major ninth chord. This is such unusual music, is it not? Is it not? I defy you to find music that conforms to the standards that this does. It is really, really fantastic stuff. Sorry, I'm about to end the stream, Mint Choc Chip Ice. I apologise, but yeah, have a listen to these new Puritans, Crooked Wing. It's fantastic stuff so far. I may well, in fact, I'm definitely going to go on and have a listen to that rest of stuff now. There's still 7 more tracks to have a look at. Oh, 6 more tracks. No, is it 7? I can't count. Yeah, it's 7. Excellent. That looks like a good afternoon for me. Okay, see ya. I enjoyed it greatly. Have another lovely day and a lovely life. Bye bye.